Well, I want us to look at the history between Nigeria and South Africa. It has been a very helpful one that diplomatic solidarity, both in the time of tension, diplomacy, and mutual interest. Both of the countries shared leadership role in Africa and the evolving political and economic landscape. They actually did a related or played a related role. So under the anti-apartheid solidarity that took place for over 30 to 40 years between the 1960s when Nigeria got their independence and to 1990, you see, Nigeria was on the most vocal African nation against apartheid in South Africa. After gaining independence in 1960, Nigeria became a frontline supporter of South Africa liberation struggle, Now, it moved on the trajectory where for the diplomatic pressure, Nigeria used its influences at the United Nations and the Commonwealth to pressure Western countries, to impose sanctions on apartheid in South Africa. During the time Nigeria got independent, Nigeria was almost like number 2 or 3 in the United Nations, and their voice were heard. Oh, gentleman, God bless you. Take salute, man. On the financial support, the Nigerian government reportedly spent over $60 million on the South African Relief Fund, SAF, and supporting liberation movement like the African National Congress. Nigeria had a very strong voice in the African National Congress. For the education and the refugees, Nigeria granted scholarship and safe haven to South African exiles and activists. Those that went to exile, and there's people like Thabo Mbeki, who later became the president of the South Africa, later. Now, Africa cannot be free until South Africa is free. That was a popular slogan in 1980s in Nigeria. Find out. Go and find out. The slogan in Nigeria then was that Africa can never be free until South Africa became free. The post-apartheid, which is the era and diplomatic relationship starting from that 1994 to 2010. This is of recent. When we talk, I talk like an adult. I don't talk like a young boy, because this way when I have come of age within this period. For some of you that don't know, with the fall of apartheid and the election of Nelson Mandela in 1994, remember 1994 when Nigeria won the East African Cup of Nations, during the time J.J. Okocha, Kanu Nwankwo, Rashidi Yekini. This was 1994, Nigeria and South Africa established formal diplomatic relations. This period was marked by shared leadership. Both countries emerged as continental leaders. Nigeria in West Africa, South Africa in the South. You see, the economic tide was the South Africa companies like MTN, Shoprite, and the Multi-Choice invested heavily in Nigeria. You see, this is a relationship. MTN is a company owned by South African, Shoprite, as well as Multi-Choice. Multi-Choice, the television we watch, which is DSTV and co. They invested heavily in Nigeria. Nigeria became a key market in South African expansion strategy, because Nigeria supported them heavily. The political collaboration made to Nigeria and South Africa work together on African Union reforms and the peacekeeping mission. Example of the Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. So we are going to put the story of the tie between what Nigeria has played a very serious role in Africa in trying to make sure. The tension and the xenophobia between 2010 and 2020 for the past 10 years now, despite strong ties, relationship grew strength due to xenophobic attack, periodic attack on foreign nationals in South Africa, including Nigeria, strained ties. High-profile attack in 2008, 2015, and 2019 led to the diplomatic protest, evacuation of Nigerian citizens and the temporary closure of embassies of Nigeria in South Africa. You remember the time our brother called Allen Onyema, the owner of Airpeace airline, who helped in evacuating Nigerians free of charge, single-handedly supported the evacuation of Nigeria from South Africa, Visa and the trade barrier. Nigerians often face visa challenges in South Africa. Meanwhile, South Africa businesses in Nigeria were sometimes targeted during the retaliatory protest. But nothing was done, but it was really in this thing, because Nigeria government ensured that these were not attacked, and despite that, their diplomatic retaliation in 2019, Nigeria recalled its ambassador from South Africa following xenophobic violence. You see, these are the kind of things that took place then. We are aware of all that. Now, rebuilding ties and strategic partnership between 2020 till present, that's after the COVID, recent effort has aimed at restoring and strengthening the bilateral relationship. Bilateral commission in 2021, President Muhammad Buhari actually did well with a Cyril Ramaphosa, this current president. They launched a binational commission to deepen the ties, because of course the old men still remember. I think it's the young boy of the South African that doesn't understand why they shouldn't have problem with Nigeria. Trade and investment, both countries signed a multiple MOUs, in sectors like defense, energy, and the mining. There's a continental collaboration that Nigeria and South Africa cooperate on their African continental free trade area, regional peace, and the COVID response. So there was a very serious collaboration between Nigeria and the South Africa. So the Nigeria and the South Africa relationship reflects a very high complexity of the African diplomacy. But these are the major countries in Africa rooted in a shared liberation history, as well as shape on modern economic, political, and social realities. You see, these periodic tension both remain strategic partners and the key players in African future. So Africa is great if the good relationship still being maintained between South Africa and Nigeria. So, and I appreciate the current president of South Africa, a very intelligent man. Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa is a very intelligent man, and he has tried as much as possible to maintain peace. You can see since his reign, this xenophobic attack has reduced at the camp, and Nigeria are very loving people, very hospitable, and very anxious in maintaining anywhere they come. They always build that place as their own home. So I know my friends in South Africa that are on my page, please. This is a relationship. Nigeria really supported South Africa by spending over $60 million to make sure the challenges from the Western colonies and apartheid. Of course, some of you will not know what is apartheid. We paid, as a young primary student, pupil, we are mandated to pay either 5 naira or 10 naira, which 10 naira as at that time we pay was equivalent to $12. 10 naira was equivalent to $12 as at that time. So naira has a very big strength in the international and the forex market. So South Africa friends, we are your big brother. Nigeria is your big brother, and Nigeria has supported you and they make sure and they invested in different aspects of your life. I can see there's a more contribution of Nigeria to your country, you know, and they all held to Nelson Mandela. He was a great leader, and he was as well as a real activist, and he did well. Someone who spent 27 years in prison for freedom, and he got it. Then he won as a president in 1994 and became the president. He did one term, and if you go to South Africa, you can see the statues of Nelson Mandela is olive over everywhere. The time I was in Otambo International Airport in Johannesburg, everywhere in the airport, the statue of Nelson Mandela, that to tell you how a hero is being honored. So any point I'm moving, I say, what's happening? Why Nelson Mandela? I say, oh, this is a great man, you know. They really cherished him. I wish African can have leaders like Nelson Mandela. So South Africa, Nigeria, please be at peace. Thank you.